somewhere in a city of 1,000,000 people, the day is ending. You don't need to know where you are. The feeling will come to you. The sense of old stone beneath you, warm stone, still holding the heat of the afternoon sun. The feeling of a world that has been here a long time and will be here long after this particular evening is over. The air smells of bread. Not fresh bread, the bread that was fresh this morning, and whose warmth is still drifting from a stall somewhere nearby that is beginning to close. And beneath it, smoke, and beneath the smoke, stone, and beneath the stone, the slow, distant sound of water. You are in Rome. It is the second watch of the night, by any reckoning, evening. The baths have closed. The markets have folded. The city's long day is releasing itself the way a fist slowly opens. Move toward the sound of the water. The Tiber is not far. In Rome, the Tiber is never far. You carry the sound of it, the way you carry your own breathing. A low, steady sound, like the city's pulse, like something much older than any street or wall. The river is quieter now than it was this morning. The grain barges from Ostia came in at midday, great flat-bottomed boats carrying the bread of the city, and they have docked and been unloaded, and their crews have gone. What remains is the river itself, dark at the edges where the banks hold shadow, and still catching a little of the last sky in the middle, where the current runs. The water is the color of bronze in this light. It moves without hurry. It has been moving this same way for longer than Rome has stood here, and it will continue long after the last stone of this city has settled into the earth. Stand here for a moment, and let your eyes follow the current. The sound of the river is not dramatic. It does not rush or roar. It is the sound of something patient, something that knows it has time. Small waves against the stone of the bank, the occasional creak of a moored boat, shifting in the current, rocking back and setting its rope taut. On the far bank, the last of the buildings are dark. A lamp lights a single window, then goes out. The sky above the river has turned from gold to a deep, clear indigo, and the first stars, the reliable ones, the ones the sailors use, are beginning to appear where the light was. The smell of the Tiber at evening is its own thing. River mud, a little fish, the memory of cargo, grain and oil and timber that has passed through here all day long. It is not a pretty smell, but it is a real one, and something about its realness is settling, the way all real things settle. Turn away from the river. Behind you, the streets are beginning to thin. Not silent, not yet, but different. The quality of the noise has changed. This afternoon it was woven, constant, a single loud fabric of voices and footsteps and trade. Now it is becoming something else. Separate sounds, individual sounds, each one audible before the next. A woman is closing the wooden shutters over her stall. Flat, dry wood slapping against the stone of the doorframe, and the clunk of a bar dropping into place. Then quiet from that direction. Further down the street, a boy is stacking bread trays, clay trays, hollow sounding when they knock together. The bread is gone. What he's stacking is the shape of bread, the negative space where the loaves were. One tray, then another. The sound stops. A donkey, somewhere not far, lifts and sets its feet, and the person leading it says something low and tired, and the hooves quiet. The thermopolium on the corner has already closed its counter. The shutters are down over the openings where the clay pots sat in their holes in the stone, keeping warm through the day. The pots are still warm inside, but no one is buying. The man who runs it has gone in through the back. You can hear, if you listen, the sound of clay being set down carefully on stone. The street breathes. Somewhere to the west, there is the distant sound of iron wheels on basalt. The cart traffic has started. It is always this way at the second watch, when the day ban on wheeled vehicles lifts and the deliveries begin. But the sound is distant. It is not coming closer. It belongs to another part of the city, some other street in some other neighborhood, and its work has nothing to do with this moment. The sound fades before it arrives. You are walking slowly. There is no destination. There does not need to be one. In a city like this, at an hour like this, walking without destination is the oldest thing in the world. 100,000 people have walked these same stones in the same way at the same hour, and none of them were going anywhere in particular, and none of them minded. The stones beneath your feet are basalt, dark, hard, worn smooth by the generations. They hold the warmth of the day even now, even through the leather of your sandals, or through the soles of your bare feet. If you were to stop and stand still, you would feel it, the city's warmth. Look up. The insulae rise on both sides. 4 stories, 5 stories in some places, their upper floors dark against the blue-dark sky. These are the buildings that hold the city's people. Hundreds of them, thousands of them, in the rooms that stack up behind each window and shutter. Not the families of senators or merchants. The ordinary people of Rome, the weavers and the porters and the scribes and the women who mend cloth, the men who carry water up from the street fountains to the floors too high for the water pipe to reach. A single lamp still glows in a 3rd-floor window. You can see the orange of it through a crack in the shutter, a point of warmth against the stone face of the building. Then a shadow moves across it, and someone pulls the shutter closed, and the point of light narrows and disappears. Somewhere above, a child's voice, not crying, talking, telling someone something, the way children do, in the particular urgent voice of before sleep. The words are indistinct. A longer silence, then a few more words, softer, then nothing. A shutter on the 2nd floor opens outward, and someone tips something, water, from the sound of it, into the street below. Then the shutter closes. The sound of the latch. The insulae are settling. It happens the way all large things settle. Not all at once, but in stages, in small surrenders. A voice that was talking stops talking. A lamp that was burning is extinguished. A door that was ajar is pulled shut. None of these are dramatic. None of these require anything of you. They are simply the ordinary sound of a great city deciding, without ceremony, that the day is done. You keep walking. The street curves slightly, and the buildings on your left step back. And for a moment there is an open space, a small square, perhaps, or just a widening of the street, where the sky comes down closer. You can see more of it here. The stars are out fully now. Not the city's stars, the few that survive the light of 1,000,000 lamps. The real stars, the old stars, visible because you are looking at the narrow strip of sky between rooftops. And they are there the way they have always been there. You stand in the small, open space and look up. And then you walk on. You hear them before you see their light. Footsteps, but different from the footsteps of the day. Deliberate, unhurried. The sound of hobnailed sandals on stone. A rhythm that is neither rushed nor slow, simply steady. And with the footsteps, the very faint creak of leather. Equipment being carried. A bucket, perhaps. A hook, the strap of a lantern. They come around the corner. 2 of them. The vigiles. Their lantern is a wooden frame fitted with panels of thin horn, translucent, amber-colored. And through these panels, the light of a small oil lamp moves and breathes. It does not throw a strong light. What it does is something more modest. It marks them. It says, we are here, we are watching. The night is not empty. They walk the way people walk, who have walked this route 100 times. The senior one, older, something in the set of his shoulders, glances at the doorways as he passes them. Not suspiciously, professionally. The way a shepherd looks at a flock, not looking for danger so much as registering that everything is where it should be. The other one is younger, and his eyes go upward, toward the windows of the insulae, toward the roof lines. There was a fire in this district 2 months ago. Not serious, caught in time. And since then, he looks at the upper floors carefully. This too is not dramatic. It is care. The quiet, methodical care of someone whose job is to prevent. They pass you, or rather, they pass through the space you occupy. Because in this way of imagining, you are not quite there, not in a way that interrupts them. You are witnessing. Their lantern light moves across the basalt of the street ahead of them, dims as they turn a corner, and is gone. A dog, somewhere on the adjacent street, barked once when they approached. Now the dog is quiet. The dog has understood that what passed was not a threat. The dog settles. Its sound, too, is gone. The street is emptier than it was. Not in the way of something taken away, but in the way of something completed. The vigiles made their round. The street has been seen. The night has been certified as ordinary, as safe, as what it should be. You stand for a moment in the place where their lantern was. You breathe. Come inside. Up 2 flights of stairs. Stone steps, worn in the center, rising in a tight spiral behind a door that was left unlocked. The walls here are plastered and painted a pale cream, and the paint is old in the way that old things are old in Rome. Not falling apart, simply worn, the way everything is worn in a city this age. The paint has a depth to it, generations of smoke and lamplight and human air. The room is small. Most rooms here are small, but it has what it needs. A window, a wooden shutter, not glass, standing open just enough to let the night air move through. A low shelf along one wall, a chest, and on the shelf, the lamp. The lamp is ceramic. Simple, the kind you find everywhere in this city, shaped from clay, single-wicked burning olive oil in its small, shallow reservoir. The flame is not large. It makes a small, warm, honest light. Orange, the color of a fire seen from a distance, or the color of the last sun on stone. It does not reach the far corners of the room. The corners are in shadow, and the shadows are not threatening. They are simply the natural limit of a small lamp. The flame bends slightly in the air that comes through the shutter gap, then straightens. On the wall opposite the lamp, the shadows of the room move in response. Not dramatically, not like something alive, but with the gentle, continuous motion of things lit by fire. A slow shifting, a very slight darkening in one place, a very slight lightening in another. The plaster wall holds the light the way stone holds warmth. It gives it back gradually. Through the gap in the shutter, if you were to look, and you might once, just once, you would see a strip of sky. It is deep indigo now, and full of stars. Not just the reliable stars, the ones bright enough to survive the glow of the city, but the smaller ones too, the ones that only appear when you are still enough to notice them. There is no moon tonight, or the moon has already set, and the stars are having the night to themselves. The room smells of lamp oil, olive oil, burning. It is a warm smell, a domestic smell, the smell of this room at this hour, in this city, for as long as anyone now living has been alive. Someone who lived in this room before you knew this smell. Someone who will live in this room after you knew it too. It is not a personal smell in the end. It belongs to all of them, all the ordinary evenings, all the small flames burning themselves out slowly in their clay cups. You have been standing. You do not need to stand any longer. The lectus is against the wall, a wooden frame. The legs are simple, 4 of them, turned on a lathe, smooth under the hand. The frame itself is strung with rope, good rope, woven tight, and on the rope sits a mattress of wool, stuffed and restuffed over the years, until it has found the shape of something settled. Not soft the way you might want from outside, looking in. Soft the way things are, soft after they have been used for a long time. Yielding, familiar, carrying something of everyone who has rested here. There is a pillow, wool-stuffed, covered in linen. Not high, just enough to fill the gap between your head and the mattress, just enough to let your neck go. There is a blanket. Wool. Not heavy. The night is not cold. The room has been holding the day's warmth. But there is something about having the weight of it, something about the specific quality of wool against skin, that the body understands as safety, as rest, as permission. Lower yourself onto it. The rope webbing below the mattress gives slightly under your weight. Not alarmingly, just a small, welcoming give, the way a thing built for this purpose gives. It has taken this weight before. It will take it again. Let your body be where it is. Your shoulders touch the mattress. Your back touches the mattress. The blanket settles over you, and your hands can rest wherever they rest most easily. On your chest, at your sides, wherever they have always gone when the day is done, and there is nothing more to hold. The lamp on the shelf is still burning. You can see its light from here, the orange of it on the ceiling above you, moving very slowly with the air that comes through the shutter gap. Watching the light move on the ceiling is not work. You are not trying to do anything. The light moves. You watch it, or you don't. It continues either way. Outside, a distant cartwheel on stone, very faint, already growing fainter. And then only the Tiber, barely audible from here, through walls and streets, but present. A continuous, low, patient sound, the city's oldest sound. Your body is heavier than it was. This is not something you did. This is simply what happens to a body when it is allowed to stop. The weight has always been there. The weight of the day, the weight of the evening, the weight of everything that was held in place while you were standing. Now that you are horizontal, it is allowed to come down. It comes down slowly. It fills the mattress. It fills the rope beneath the mattress. It fills the wooden frame. The stone floor beneath the lectus is still warm. Through the shutter gap, a star. The city outside is sleeping. Not all at once. It never happens all at once, but enough. Enough that if you were to stand outside again, which you will not, you would find the streets different. The sounds are different. There is still the very distant sound of wheels, deliveries continuing somewhere in the city's northern districts. But it is so far away and so regular that it has become part of the silence rather than an interruption of it. The way a river becomes part of the silence. The vigiles are still walking. They will walk all night. They will still be walking when the first light appears in the east. But their footsteps are somewhere else now, in some other part of the city, checking some other street's doors and roof lines. This street has been checked. This street is quiet. In the insulae around this room, the sleepers are sleeping. The child who was talking before sleep is asleep. The woman who closed her shutters is asleep. The man who set down his clay pots carefully is asleep. All of them are doing the same thing. Or rather, none of them are doing anything. They have stopped doing. They have handed the night over. The Tiber flows. It has been flowing for longer than this city, and it will flow for longer than this city. And right now it is simply flowing past sleeping banks with no more urgency than it has ever had. Small sounds at its edge, water against stone, the gentle creak of a moored boat pulling at its rope. Patient sounds, sounds that do not need anything from you. The lamp on the shelf has used most of its oil. The flame is smaller now, still orange, still warm, but lower. The light it makes a little less than it was. The shadows on the wall have grown. The ceiling above you is almost dark. There is no urgency in this. This is how all lamps end, gradually. The light does not go out suddenly. It simply becomes less of itself, more slowly, until at some point the oil is gone, and the flame is gone, and the room is lit only by whatever comes through the shutter gap. Tonight that is starlight. A very faint light, blue-grey, clean, coming through the narrow gap in the shutter and falling across the floor. The blanket, the edge of the wooden frame. It does not illuminate anything exactly. It simply indicates that the sky is there, and it is full of stars, and they have been doing this for a long time without requiring anything of anyone. Your breath is slower than it was. You may notice this, or you may not. Either is fine. The breath continues regardless. In and out, with the patience of water, with the patience of the river outside these walls, with the patience of all the sleeping people in all the rooms of this city who are breathing in the same way right now, without knowing it, without needing to know it. The old city breathes. Through the gap in the shutter, stars. The lamp is nearly out. There is nowhere to go. Let the old city breathe you to sleep.